Hi, I'm Sarah and I'm one of the English tutors here at Wolsey Hall. So this video is just to briefly explain verbs and how we use them in our writing. So first of all, there's two main types of verbs. Often they're called doing words, so things like run and jump. So Jacob plays the drum, Carl dances every day. So the verb's underlined in the examples. The more tricky one that sometimes people miss out of sentences is when they tell you how something is, and they all come from the verb to be. So examples of this are things like am, is, were, are, was. So they're more tricky, and sometimes you do, particularly in descriptive writing, people tend to miss them out, so you get verbless sentences. Every sentence does need a verb, so it's really important to check that they have it. So here are some examples of that. I am sporty, Thomas is on holiday. Verbs need something to do the action. So it needs a noun or a pronoun to actually do the action that it's describing. In most sentences, the thing doing the action will actually come before the verb, and these are known as active sentences. So for example, Gwen made a cake. So you have your subject and then you have the verb made. Sometimes they can be used slightly differently, so they can be used in passive sentences, and it's not always clear which noun goes with the verb, but in most cases you still need something to do the action, otherwise the sentence won't make sense. So here's an example of a passive sentence. The cake was made by Gwen. So the focus is still on the cake, but Gwen is no longer the subject, but she is still doing the action. So you still need a subject and verb in every sentence. So the verbs must agree with whoever's doing them. So it's really important to think about whether your sentence, whether the subject in your sentence is singular or plural. So for example, the frog lives in the pond. If your subject was plural, then the verb must be plural as well. So the frogs live in the pond. So the verb has changed here. So finally, verbs help show you when something is happening. So this will depend on where the action is taking place, and this is when we might change the verb to reflect tense. So for example, the past tense of this sentence is the giraffe lived on Venus. If it's present, it changes to the giraffe lives in Venus. And if it was in the future, this would change again to the giraffe will live on Venus. So it's just really important that you remember that every sentence should have a verb, and also think about the whether it's singular or plural, and also what tense that you're writing in, because this can change the verb that you're using.